What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Michael Bisping has weighed in on the shocking announcement that Paddy Pimblett will face Justin Gaethje for the interim lightweight title, a matchup that instantly sent the MMA world into chaos. The moment the news broke, fans erupted online, calling it everything from a robbery to a rankings disaster. Many believe Arman Tsarukyan, who worked his way into undeniable #1 contender status, was pushed aside for star power. Instead of rewarding merit, the UFC leaned into hype. Paddy's massive fan base, Gaethje's guaranteed violence, the storyline, the clicks. It mirrors the situation with Volkanovski and Diego Lopes, where viral appeal overshadowed the fighter who actually earned the opportunity. What made things worse for Tsarukyan was Dana White confirming that the winner of Gaethje versus Pimblett will fight Ilia Topuria later in 2026. That means Tsarukyan, already frustrated after being sidelined from the Makhachev rematch, could be forced to wait nearly a full year. His withdrawal from the Makhachev fight cost him heavily. That was supposed to be his defining moment, but instead the division moved on without him. Reacting to the matchup, Bisping explained that becoming interim champion essentially makes you the #1 contender. If Paddy pulls this off, it would be extraordinary. It would add another champion from the UK, following the rise of Tom Aspinall and others. As for Justin Gaethje, this could be his final run at UFC Gold. He has already fought for the title twice, first against Charles Oliveira and then against Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now he gets another chance, but this time against Paddy Pimblett. Breaking down the fight, Bisping noted it's undeniably a more manageable matchup for Gaethje than facing Khabib or Islam Makhachev, the current pound-for-pound great, who many believe has surpassed Khabib. The real question is whether Paddy can take Gaethje down and avoid the striking exchanges that Gaethje thrives in. Paddy will likely try to move constantly, use lateral footwork, and perhaps emulate elements of Max Holloway's evasive approach. What he cannot do is stand in the pocket and trade, because Gaethje's knockout power is real and proven. Still, Bisping warned that underestimating Paddy would be a serious mistake. He's unpredictable, unorthodox, and capable of surprising even elite competition. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for latest MMA updates. Move on to another news. Ilia Topuria is now facing a major legal and personal challenge that could significantly alter the trajectory of his life. The 28-year-old Georgian UFC champion is currently involved in a turbulent divorce and custody battle with his wife, Georgina Bedell, whom he married in 2022. The couple shares 2 young children, a son and a daughter, and their separation has quickly escalated into a complex legal dispute. According to reports from Spanish media, Bedell is seeking 50% of Topuria's estimated $15 million net worth, a fortune built through UFC purses, high-profile endorsements, and brand sponsorship. The situation intensified when claims surfaced alleging that Topuria had messaged other women, a detail Bedell is reportedly using in court to strengthen her custody position and argue for a greater share of assets. The timing of this controversy could not be more disruptive for Topuria's career. On November 27th, he publicly announced that he would be stepping away temporarily to focus on his children and resolve the ongoing legal battle. He also emphasized that he wanted to avoid holding up the UFC lightweight division during this personal crisis. His decision effectively paved the way for Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett to compete for the interim lightweight title at UFC 324 in January. The MMA community has responded strongly to the news. Fighters, including former champion Max Holloway, have expressed their support for Topuria as he navigates one of the most challenging periods of his life. Between protecting his career and fighting for his family, the pressure on him is immense. Fans and analysts alike are closely watching how he balances his role inside the cage with the intense demands of the courtroom. Topuria himself has kept relatively quiet about the details, aside from a brief tweet and an interview with a Georgian journalist several weeks ago, where he acknowledged the divorce but avoided discussing the lawsuit specifics. As the legal battle unfolds, the outcome could have long-lasting repercussions on both his personal and professional future. Move on to another news. Just weeks before UFC 324, the UFC has officially confirmed a high-stakes matchup. Umar Nurmagomedov will take on former flyweight champion Deiveson Figueiredo. This fight carries major implications for the bantamweight division. If Umar secures a decisive victory, he becomes the undeniable next contender for a rematch with champion Merab Dvalishvili. Nurmagomedov is the only fighter in recent memory who managed to give Merab a competitive fight, while everyone else has been overwhelmed by Merab's relentless pace and pressure. Merab, fresh off a dominant win over Corey Sandhagen, has been vocal about Umar. In a recent interview with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, he criticized Umar for what he described as fake behavior on social media media, claiming that Umar lets other people post tweets on his behalf. According to Mirab, this makes his online presence inauthentic and disrespectful, especially when the posts include strong or confrontational statements. This matchup against Figueiredo is more than just another step for Umar. It's his opportunity to prove he belongs at the very top of the division. A win would not only solidify his position as a true title threat, but also reignite the storyline surrounding his competitive first meeting with the champ. Many analysts consider Umar one of the most dangerous and technically gifted prospects at bantamweight, and this fight is his chance to validate that reputation on the biggest stage. Mirab also explained why Umar's tweets struck a nerve. He emphasized that he would never allow a manager, friend, or family member to speak for him online, especially when the message involves calling someone out or using disrespectful language. What frustrated him most was Umar referring to him as a fake champion, a comment Mirab took deeply personal. According to him, the lack of respect is what bothers him more than any trash talk. With tensions rising and the stakes higher than ever, all eyes are on Umar Nurmagomedov. A win over Davison Figueiredo puts him directly on a collision course with Mirab and sets up one of the most anticipated rematches in the division's history. Move on to another news. Dana White is facing heavy backlash after announcing several new UFC matchups, including the controversial featherweight title rematch between Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopes at UFC 325, scheduled just 1 week after UFC 324. The two first met earlier this year in April, where Volkanovski won convincingly. Since then, Lopes has only picked up a single victory over John Silva, while Volkanovski has been sidelined. Many fans and fighters believe this rematch makes little sense, especially when more deserving contenders like Lerone Murphy and Movsar Evloev. The MMA community immediately expressed disappointment. Critics argued that Murphy and Evloev have earned their opportunities through win streaks and consistent performances, while Lopes getting a second title shot feels like a popularity-based decision rather than a merit-based one. Murphy reacted strongly on X, saying the most painful part was losing the chance to face one of the featherweight greats, adding that title shots now seem to go to the most popular fighters rather than the most deserving. Former UFC veteran Cub Swanson supported Murphy, noting that the UFC has always leaned toward marketable fights, though fighters rarely notice until they're overlooked. Evloev also responded by offering Murphy a fight for the #1 contender position on the same card as the title bout. The tension escalated when Murphy posted a screenshot from a rumored old training knockout over Evloev, claiming he was ready to release the footage after Evloev's disrespectful comments. After the title rematch was announced, fans criticized the UFC for ignoring rankings and rewarding fighters with less deserving resume. Many argued that Evloev and Murphy should have been next in line, while others accused the UFC of manipulating matchups to shape future champions or extend the careers of aging stars. Volkanovski later addressed the controversy in a YouTube video, acknowledging that both Murphy and Evloev deserved the title shot more than Lopes. He admitted he originally expected to fight Murphy in December and was confused when the UFC insisted on Lopes instead, especially since he had already defeated him earlier in the year. Still, Volkanovski reaffirmed that he will fight whoever the UFC puts in front of him and promised fans that his matchup with Lopes will deliver excitement. Move on to another news. Following the UFC 324 announcements made during the NFL halftime show, major controversy erupted, particularly around the lightweight division. Dana White revealed that Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje will compete for the interim lightweight title. This came as a surprise, considering Gaethje had been adamant that he would only accept a direct title shot, yet appears to have accepted an interim opportunity instead. The situation becomes even more confusing when examining the status of Arman Tsarukyan, currently ranked the #1 contender. Despite his dominant recent victory and his ascent to the top of the rankings, Tsarukyan was once again overlooked for a title fight. Many believe the UFC still holds frustration toward him for withdrawing from UFC 311, and this may be influencing the matchmaking decisions. Tsarukyan reacted to the announcement on X, posting, "Make it make sense," expressing clear disappointment that he must face yet another opponent while being the division's top contender. Further complicating the picture is champion Ilia Topuria's status. He revealed he is dealing with personal issues and won't return in the first quarter of the year. The winner of Gaethje vs. Pimblett will unify the title against Topuria later on. However, if Topuria's projected return is not until spring 26, Tsarukyan may be forced to wait until fall 2026 for his long-awaited shot, potentially sidelining the #1 contender for nearly a year. Ariel Helwani also criticized the situation, calling the interim matchup AA-manufactured title fight, and pointing out that the division's top contender is inexplicably not involved. He noted that neither the champion nor the rightful challenger is competing for this interim belt, comparing it to the UFC's BMF title in terms of legitimacy. While acknowledging the entertainment value of seeing Pimblett and Gaethje compete, Helwani emphasized the absurdity of the bout being promoted as a title fight, let alone headlining over other championship-level matchups. Overall, the announcement has left fans and analysts baffled, with many feeling that Tsarukyan continues to be unfairly overlooked despite his ranking, recent performances, and clear qualifications for a title opportunity. Move on to another news. Jon Jones has fired back at Daniel Cormier once again, escalating their long-standing rivalry. Just yesterday, reports surfaced of Jones responding to Cormier's comments about him spending Thanksgiving without friends or family. Jones framed his message as support for anyone who felt alone during the holiday, but the undertone was clearly aimed at DC's remarks. Then last night, Jones doubled down. He posted another video, this time singing a mocking song about living rent-free in Daniel Cormier's head, suggesting that DC constantly thinks about him. Jones wasn't done yet. He also took the feud to Twitter, writing, "Imagine a man getting his ass kicked, and years later, he's still pondering how I spend my holidays. Brother, that's not concern. That's a long-term rental, utilities included." His comments hinted that Cormier's obsession goes beyond professional rivalry and borders on personal fixation. This latest exchange appears to have reignited tension between the former light heavyweight enemies, though it's likely Cormier will soon respond with clarification or an admission that he overstepped. Historically, DC tends to address these situations publicly, often acknowledging when he feels he made a mistake by commenting on Jones' personal life. The feud between these two legends remains one of the most heated in UFC history. Even years after their final fight, the animosity continues to resurface whenever one comments on the other. With Jones recovering and preparing for future competition and Cormier active in media, their rivalry still commands attention across the MMA community, proving that some grudges never truly fade. Move on to another news. Major changes are coming to UFC scheduling. According to a new report from Dave Meltzer, the UFC will officially begin starting its pay-per-view events 1 hour earlier beginning in 2026, following the launch of its new broadcast deal with Paramount. The decision comes as Paramount aims to maximize viewership on the East Coast, where later start times have historically caused fan drop-off late into the night. Meltzer posted on social media explaining the reasoning behind the shift. He noted that the UFC previously kept later start times because West Coast sports bars believed a 6 p.m. local start was too early for business. However, under the new agreement, Paramount is prioritizing peak East Coast engagement, prompting the move to a 9 p.m. Eastern PPV start time. Following Meltzer's report, Damon Martin shared the official start times for UFC 324. The main card will begin at 9 p.m. Eastern, while the standard prelims will kick off at 7 p.m. Early prelims are scheduled to start even earlier at 5 p.m. Eastern. May. For longtime fans who watched from the very first fight to the main event, this means settling in an hour earlier than usual. The adjustment appears to be part of a broader effort by the UFC and Paramount to refine their presentation, improve ratings, and strengthen East Coast engagement during peak hours. With the new broadcast partnership in place, viewers should expect additional changes as the organization transitions into its next era of programming. Move on to another news. Alexander Volkanovski's coach has expressed confusion over the UFC's decision to book a rematch between Volkanovski and Diego Lopes. While their first meeting was competitive, it wasn't the type of bout that typically warrants an immediate second fight, especially with the featherweight division stacked with legitimate contenders who have been steadily building their cases for a title shot. According to Volkanovski's coach, the UFC's matchmaking has become less about merit and more about momentum, social media buzz, and trending names. Many fans on social platforms agree, arguing that the opportunity should have gone to Movsar Evlev, the undefeated contender who has been patiently waiting for his moment, or Lerone Murphy, who has emerged as one of the division's most deserving challengers. Instead, the UFC went in a different direction, sparking speculation that the promotion is trying to push Volkanovski toward back-to-back matchups against dangerous knockout artists. Lerone Murphy voiced his frustration on Twitter, joking that he might fight every month of 2026 out of anger after being passed over again. The sentiment within the division is clear. Plenty of contenders felt they had earned a shot, but star power and fan interest appeared to have taken priority. Volkanovski's coach also shared insight into why the rematch will look different from their first fight. This time, he believes Volkanovski is returning with renewed confidence. In their previous meeting, the former champion was dealing with doubt, pressure, and the emotional weight of recent losses. Now, the coach says, Volkanovski feels like his old self again, composed, assured, and training without the overwhelming need to prove anything. He added that Volkanovski is calmer in the gym and no longer carrying the heavy burden he felt before. The coach is unsure what adjustments Diego Lopes will make, especially given what happened in the first round of their initial fight, when Volkanovski took him down and dominated early. Whether Lopes will attempt to take the fight to the ground again remains a question heading into the rematch.